This is the recording of the pound yen head and shoulders aggressive entry on the right shoulder on the 15-minute time frame. I've only just got in the trade. Let me just move these targets over just so that you can see what's actually happened, and then I'm going to talk you through the actual trade. So bear with me and I'll do my higher time frame analysis. So here we are on the daily time frame. And what we've done is we actually came into this VS1 level here, and from there we have rallied. Now you can see that we have just touched this VS1 level here, this resistance level, and that comes in at the 4,300 even handled number. The pound yen we know has a big ATR, so the dailies is going to be completely different to what the 15-minute trade actually shows. Here on the 4 hourly we actually double bottomed. We made an initial structure high coming in to this zone here, and we're actually, as we rallied up, very small pullback, just about made a new structure high, and then here on the 4 hourly just moving sideways, so dropping down to the 60-minute time frame. So you can see that we're going into consolidation, or there's very little movement and there's no clear directional move. Here on the 60-minute time frame, it does look as though there was an advanced pattern here. Yep, a little Gartley pattern. It may have already hit that actually. Yeah, it's already hit. And so if we then drop down to the 15-minute time frame, what I was looking at was we had come into this higher VS1 level zone, and it's a VS1 on the 15-minute, but it was also on the daily. If you remember, we were within the wicks, and so we saw the reaction from that zone, which was a move lower. We saw a pullback, then we saw a new low. We actually closed below the spikes here. Then we saw a pullback. Didn't quite get as high as the left shoulder, and then we've come down. Now, why was I looking at a head and shoulder here? Because this isn't a typical head and shoulders that I would really look at. And the reason being is because we're kind of sandwiched between two VS1 levels. We've got VS1 level on the 15-minute down here, and a VS1 level at the top here, and on the dailies we'd hit that the wicks on the daily time frame. But this potential head and shoulders is, we've got the RSI confirmation, so I need it to be oversold, and this came oversold at 18. We've got the divergence, and here what we have is, just looking at the wicks, we actually have a low test candle, another wick, and this one actually made a higher high, higher close. Now, just a few seconds ago, we saw a pull back down into this zone, which I then bought it up because it gave me a better risk to reward, and I was then able to get my stops below the close of these candles, a few pips below the close of them. I'll actually go back and bring the actual live trade details on the stops and targets very shortly. But what I'm looking at here is I'm then looking for the market to continue. Now, because this is going to be a slanted neckline, I am not looking for a complete retest up to here. In fact, if we throw a fib on, let me use the right tool. If we throw a fib on, I'm actually looking at the 618, and it's not just because it's a 618, it's also because it's just before the 1,4,300 even handled number. And if I put a structure level on here, again, this is only the 15-minute, but with that structure level you can see that we've tested, came close to there, tested there, and we've got a little zone that's being respected here as well. And of course the 618 or the 1618 is always the main fib to go for, and obviously we're before that even handled number. And so with it being a slanted neckline, I would not be looking for any kind of real extension, but the last piece of confluence would be if we duplicate that to make an AB equals CD pattern, you can see we're coming up to within that zone. So I've just brought back on the stops and targets. You can see that my target is actually just a couple of pips past the completion of the AB equals CD pattern, just based on the closes of the candles, and I'm just short of the 618 as well. So on this particular trade, this is a risk of just 12 pips. Very low for the 50-minute on the pound yen, but it is Monday and a bank holiday, so ATR isn't very big for a reward of 23. So just let me put that back on there. Yeah, so 12 pips. So if I just draw this out, this looks like this in terms of risk. Make that red. And in terms of reward, so you can see that we've got a very nice risk to reward there. And I can be more aggressive with this type of trade simply because it's not a very large trade, and I have a very good risk to reward. And obviously there's quite a bit of confluence there that I've just spoken about as well. So I'll come back and see if we can get hopefully a completion out of this trade. And we're back. My alarm's just gone off and I've just come to do the video, and it's just hit a few seconds before I was able to click record. So there we go, targets hit on that head and shoulders for 23 pips.